Hello everybody. For my presentation I'll be covering the management of diseases of oak or Quercus in the landscape. So for the requirements and distribution, Quercus or oaks has a global distribution and it can really thrive in a pretty wide variety of zones, 3 through 8. White oak is known to be 3 through 9, and your coastal and live oaks can be 9 through 11. They prefer moderately well-drained soils, but again, there's variability with that. They can take times of either severe drought or excess moisture in the soil, and then they prefer full sun, partial shade, as well as a slightly acidic pH. What does a healthy tree look like? It's a full canopy, deep green color of the leaves, and that's going to be slightly variable between different species. Some will have darker foliage than others, but generally it's a deep green color. If you begin seeing any discoloration, browning, or a yellowing, such as chlorosis, then you know that you might have an unhealthy plant. My scenario consists of a 5-acre property with 7 mature trees. The optimal soil conditions in terms of pH, so 5.5 to 6.5. The ground cover consists of shrubs, mulch, and leaf litter that they allow to fall every year, so it's consistent leaf litter kind of accumulating. There's oak wilt present in 1 host, and there's currently no irrigation. It's a new infection. The oak wilt pathogen, Bracciella figacierum, overwinters in diseased or recently killed hosts. The primary inoculum, which is the mycelial mats that are produced to a year after the host is killed. Those produce conidia or ascospores. The dispersal can be either vectored by the nitidolid beetles or sap-feeding beetles that are attracted to the scent. It's a very sweet aroma that comes from those mycelial mats, or it can be transferred through root grafts. The infection course of fresh wounds are what the vectors are attracted to, and that's how spores can be transported from host to host. And then the infection and colonization is a systematic infection. Conidia can be transported through that kind of the xylem in the sap liquid, and the cell-to-cell mycelial growth colonizes those xylem vessels as well, leading to wilting or premature leaf drop. In terms of managing oak wilt, you want to avoid pruning from April to July. If you do have, as this scenario does, a host that has died, you want to ensure that trenching is done to sever the root connections, the root grafts that have formed between those separate species. It's important that this is done before the tree is removed, because the pressure change due to the infected host being removed can cause a flow or speedier flow of inoculum from the infected roots to the uninfected roots. Systemic fungicides such as propiconazole can be used in high-risk areas as a preventative measure, and has been shown to be effective when paired with severing those root grafts. It's important to eradicate, so remove any infected hosts to ensure that no inoculum is spread either via vectors or root grafts. The next disease that we're going to be talking about is powdery mildew. So it's Orisaceae species is what we'll be talking about. It overwinters in the Cleistothecium on infected leaves, and its primary inoculum are the ascospores that are produced. They're dispersed by wind or water splash. In the infection courts, the aprosoria are produced on the leaves or buds, and they're infected directly. There's internal growth within the leaves and colonization on the leaf surface by that mycelium, which is going to inhibit photosynthesis and cause distortion in the leaf shape. There's a secondary inoculum of conidia produced from these mycelial mats, or the mycelial colonization of the leaves. In terms of management, you can avoid reemergence of this pest by removing infected leaf litter. Additionally, if you're avoiding getting the foliage wet, especially until it's fully leafed out, those fully leafed out leaves in oak are highly resistant to outbreaks of powdery mildew. It's important. To For prevention, foliar fungicide applications can be used in high-risk sites. So if you have multiple trees that have already had it or currently have it and you're worried about um, another one of your hosts getting infected, you can use foliar fungicide. And then eradication, some branches, when the powdery mildew has infected the terminal bud, will have witch's broom style growth. Those infected branches should be pruned out during the dormant season. Next, I'll be covering tubercular leaf spot, which is another common foliar disease, which both this and powdery mildew can cause damage over time if infections occur annually, but in general, they're more of a kind of aesthetic issue with a homeowner. So tubercular leaf spot or tubercular drayana overwinters in pycnothyria on fallen leaves, and it's primarily inoculum or conidia, which are produced in the spring, and they're dispersed by wind or water splash. The aprosoria, or produced on the leaves, can affect either directly if they form on epidermal cells, or they can affect indirectly by penetrating through stomata. There's inter and intracellular mycelial growth that leads to the death of the host cells, and once that occurs, you'll have these kind of rustish red color lesions that form. The management, so similar to powdery mildew, you want to be removing the infected leaf litter to reduce your inoculum. You want to ensure proper nutrient availability and create watering regimes, because they are highly susceptible to, or trees that are stressed either due to drought or nutrient loss are highly susceptible. And then additionally, you want to make sure that young trees that are establishing have proper or planted properly and are being maintained properly, both in nutrients and water requirements. It's mainly by boosting the health of your plant, you're going to be increasing the resistance, and that combined with removing your infected leaf litter should prevent any more outbreaks in tubercular leaf spot. Well, thank you very much. This is my presentation. These are my sources.